Hi, my name's Patricia, and this is Patricia Delights, and today we're going to be making biscuits. But it's not going to be ordinary biscuits, it's going to be apple-filled biscuits, so you're in for a treat. Okay, now we're going to go over the ingredients that we need for our apple biscuits. We're going to need 2 cups of self-rising flour, a half teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of light brown sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla, 1 1/4 cups of heavy cream, and a 1/2 cup of butter. So let's now, I also want to go over the filling, just so you know what we're going to be using. For the filling, we're going to peel 2 apples, which I've already done, and they've been cored and they've been grated. Now, apples tend to turn brown, so don't worry about it. It's just the process. Then we're going to have 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, and we need a few small pieces of butter, depending on how many biscuits you're making, because the butter is going to go on top of the filling before you put the other part of the biscuit on top. And then over here, we have melted butter, which we're going to brush on top of each biscuit before baking. So now let's start with the ingredients to make the biscuit. We're going to first add our flour. Okay, and then we're going to add our salt. We're going to add our brown sugar. And we're going to mix that together. We want to incorporate the brown sugar, salt, and the flour together. If you don't mix it before adding the liquids, sometimes the sugar, or not the sugar, but the salt, you would get in certain areas of the biscuit, and it is taste, kind of more salty on one part than on the other. So you want to make sure you mix it all together. Okay, now that that's been incorporated, now we're going to add our butter. We're going to cut our butter into the flour. Now I'm using a pastry cutter. If you don't have a pastry cutter, you can use a fork. It works just as well. And you want to get the butter to maybe a pea size. Just keep working it until you get the butter cut into the flour mixture. And also, I meant to tell you that you want to use cold butter. You don't want your butter to be room temperature. Okay. This looks like it's about pea size. Okay, so now we're going to clean off our pastry cutter. And then we're going to add, let's make a little well in the center. Then we're going to add our heavy cream. And we're going to add our 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, now we're going to mix this together. You want to get all the flour incorporated into the liquids. And your dough is going to get a little hard to stir around. So next thing I will do is I will get a spoon. This will help. Now make sure your hands are clean because eventually you're going to be using your hands. Alright, now time for the hands. Along with a little all-purpose flour. Now we're going to take the dough out of our bowl. And I know it's going to be a little sticky, but once we get the flour, roll it in a little bit of the flour, it's not as sticky, and then we can work with it. Now what we want to do is we want to roll our biscuits. Now the rolling, I would say about maybe a quarter of an inch. And then I have a biscuit cutter. If you don't have a biscuit cutter, you can use the edge of a glass, of a round glass. It works just as well. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to place our biscuits on a baking sheet. Okay, now we're going to get the filling together. We're going to, with the apples, we're going to mix the brown sugar, and we're going to mix the cinnamon. And this is going to be our filling. Now, I have these biscuits sitting here because they are going to go on top. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some filling in the middle. And don't worry about it if it gets a little messy. Okay, now after we put the filling on the biscuit, what we're going to do is we're going to put a small piece of butter on top. This just adds to the flavor. All right, now we're going to take our butter. Yeah, sorry about that. Let's get rid of that one. And take our butter and we're going to put a piece on top. My butter is starting to melt here. This does not want to cooperate. Okay. Get on there, get on there. All right, now that we got the butter on, now we're going to take our tops and we're going to place them on top of each biscuit. And just kind of press gently down. And it's fine if some of the filling comes out. It's not a big deal. Now we're going to bake this 400 degrees for 12 to 15 minutes. Okay, now that the biscuits are done, they finally got through baking, you can serve them different ways. Here I have cut open the biscuit, and you can see the apple filling inside. And then I just put some fruit on the side, which can be served for breakfast. This can actually be your main dish. 1 or 2 biscuits, whichever fills you up, whichever you like. Then I have a biscuit here that you can serve for dessert with the fruit. And then you can put a little whipped cream on top, which will add to it as a dessert. So this is our apple filled biscuits, and I hope you try it, I hope you make it, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. So please subscribe, like if you like, and please leave a comment. If you have anything that you want to say, any suggestions, I'm all for it.